Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Conversation. You might be noticing that this is actually being pre-recorded. I'm sorry to not be able to do this live like I normally do. I found out last night that a dear friend is probably going to be passing away today. So I'm going to be going and spending some time with him. If you can, please offer a Hail Mary for Father Dan Jones as he passes from this life into the next. He's a very, very dear friend. So thank you for coming and for watching this. And I do have some really exciting updates for this last quarter of the school year. It's going to be a lot about talking about looking toward next year. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I do want to say some really important thank yous and wrap-ups. I want to thank all of you who attended the auction now 2 weekends ago. I'm so grateful for your support for the auction. As we've been mentioning, it is our biggest fundraiser for the school. And thanks to the very hard work of Mrs. Claudia Brewer and her amazing committee, I think it was a very successful event. They worked under under circumstances that none of us would want to plan a social event under, and pulled off a really incredible community event. I know that I was so happy to see everybody together in the afternoon, and I know that many of our families really enjoyed that opportunity to be together as a community, something that's so important to us here at St. Isaac's. So thank you everybody for supporting the auction. It takes a little bit of time to kind of wrap up the financials of it as the dust kind of settles. So we don't have a final report yet, but I will be sharing that information out with you as soon as we can. And I think that the event was successful, and it was, again, Ms. Brewer did an amazing job. So grateful to them. We also know we're headed into the end of the school year, so please just know of my prayers as we get ready to transition into summer. As hopefully you've seen all the dates of our upcoming end of year events, we're going to try to host as many of those outdoors as possible, weather permitting, so that we can open it up to as many people who want to attend as possible. We're going to be hammering out some of the details about what it means to attend, but some things we do know for you all is going to be a bring your own chair. So plan on bringing your own picnic chair, and then seating will be open because it's going to be the whole field. So we'll get more details as we get closer to those dates. And then mainly what I wanted to talk to you about today is looking toward next year. It's crazy that we're already midway through May and we've got a lot coming up for next year. So the first thing that I want to talk about is calendar. I wanted to let you all know that we have put together a draft calendar for next year. I think most of the dates are solidified for now. But as you know, things can always change. So I think thanks to new technology, I can actually do a screen share with you. This is a look at the calendar. I will be emailing this out later today, so you'll get this in your inbox, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things. You'll notice that our first day of school this year is going to be August 31st, and those first few days, so that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so August 31st, September 1st, and 2nd, those are going to be half days, so dismissal will be at noon on those days. We found when we did that this year that it helped significantly with kind of giving our kids a rolling start to the school year. It gave the teachers a chance to do some preliminary testing with our kids, especially with STAR testing, and start to lay the foundation of policies and procedures for the classrooms before we start full swing on the 7th. You'll also notice some particulars with that. Early childhood and kindergarten will not start on the 31st. Early childhood and kindergarten start on the Tuesday after Labor Day, so start on the 7th, okay? So just keep that in your minds as well. And then the other thing that I want to point out specifically on the calendar is that you'll notice that our last day of school for this coming school year is going to be June 3rd. Again, this calendar will be coming to your inbox, so keep an eye out for that. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is just letting you all know, so one of the things that the CDC mentioned, this regulation changed about a month ago now. The CDC mentioned that for schools, social distancing protocol can be changed from 6 feet to 3 feet. So as we were planning toward next year, we decided to follow that new regulation change. So we cautiously expanded our classroom caps from 20 students to 25 students per classroom. And I can tell you that right now, enrollment is looking really good for next year. We currently have 201 students enrolled for next year. And our largest class size right now is 22. So I'm very happy with this enrollment number. Father David is very happy. I think that this bodes well for next school year. So we're looking forward to that as well. And then coming with next year, I also wanted to tell you all about a couple of staffing changes. So our staff is going to be remaining predominantly the same, which is a great blessing. We are going to experience 2 changes in kindergarten and in first grade. As many of you know, the sisters receive our assignments annually. So Sister Marie Jeanette was actually, she wasn't even supposed to be here this year. She was originally scheduled to start her master's in secondary education in social studies at the Catholic University of America this year. And with COVID, the Catholic University of America ended up closing down, and she wasn't able to start her program, which made her available to come here and be with our kindergartners. So I think that counts as one of those kind of like hidden blessings of COVID. And Sister Marie Jeanette next year is going to be starting that program as the university is able to start up again. And then Sister Teresita is going to be returning back to our mission in Peoria, Illinois, where she will take up her position again teaching kindergarten at St. Jude's. I know that you all have been so grateful for these sisters. I know I have been so grateful for these sisters. They will be terribly missed. But please join me in wishing them well in their future endeavors. So this leaves 2 classrooms that we need teachers for. I do have sisters for both of these classrooms. However, you may remember last school year, we actually had a layperson in kindergarten. Mrs. Emily Stump taught kindergarten. And I am leaning toward bringing a layperson back into either the kindergarten classroom or the first grade classroom, one of those 2. So I'm in the process of interviewing to find a good lay candidate for one of those classrooms. And then a sister will be in the other classroom. So I'm still in the early stages of interviewing, but if you happen to know of anybody who you think would be a good fit for our community, please direct them my way. And I will keep you posted and let you know as soon as possible once we have that settled. Otherwise, aside from kindergarten and first grade, all of our classrooms will remain staffed as they have been, and school administration will remain staffed as it has been. So we're looking forward to next school year as a staff. And then I wanted to let you know that we have a couple of changes coming from the Archdiocese for this coming year. So during this year of COVID, actually we started talking about this last school year, the Archdiocese decided that something that would be really helpful for us as a diocese would be to have a common, what we call a student information system. You know this as school speak. So the Archdiocese has decided that it would be in everybody's best interest for us to use one system so that we can track some data, academic data and performance data across schools. So starting in the fall, we're going to be using FACS for our student information system. Now, this is a little tricky and confusing for us. We use FACS already. We use FACS for their tuition collection portion of what they're able to do. They also have the capacity to do what SchoolSpeak does. So we're going to continue using it for tuition collection and also adopt the other pieces that are similar to what SchoolSpeak does. What the onboarders have kind of told us is that this is actually going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to be a bit of a learning curve for all of us. We learn to navigate a new system, but for you, it's going to mean that the same place where you go to check tuition is going to be the same place where you go to check announcements from the school. It's going to be the same place where you go to check homework for your child. So hopefully this will make your life a lot simpler and streamlined. So Mrs. Van Colley and I have already been doing trainings in this for the past couple of months. And our turnover, our kind of a full system switchover is scheduled to happen in June, late June. And then we will get you instructions on what you need to do in the fall to get you up and running. But all of your data should be transferred. It shouldn't be you needing to register again. Okay. So stay tuned for that. And then one of the consequences that come from that is we are going to be adopting the Archdiocesan report card system. Now this is the report card system that the Archdiocese uses is actually something that the Archdiocese changed about 4 years ago now, maybe 5. St. Isaac's chose not to transition with the Archdiocese on this, and that was done, I want you to know that was done with like full disclosure with the Archdiocese. We had lots of conversations about it. I had the superintendent's support in maintaining our current report card system. But now that we're making this transition to fax, our report cards are also going to be changing. This sounds like a really major change, but actually, as I research it and dig more into it, I think that it's going to be a lot less change than it initially sounds like. So I'm going to share my screen again and give you all a little bit of an insight into what the report card looks like. Actually, before I do that, just a remind, the way our report cards are set up right now is they're pretty traditional to what you would be used to seeing from when you went to school. We have, subject and a grade. You have your effort and conduct, and the grades that you're used to seeing are letter grades, right? A, B, C, D, F. In kindergarten through second grade, we have grades, we have letters that are different from the traditional system. So you have your developing, your needs improvement. So like there's a different letter scale that we've been using for kindergarten through second grade. So those components, the different letters for lower elementary, and then the A, B, C, D, F components, those will still remain on the new report cards. There's just a little bit of additional information that you'll be getting on the report cards. And those are taking a subject area and breaking it down into kind of categories of standards, and then letting you know how your child is performing in kind of sub areas of that subject. Okay, sounding like a math problem, I know. Let me do a screen share with you now and you can kind of see what it looks like. The first one I'm going to share with you is a second grade report card. Okay, so it'll show you, and first grade will look similar to this. Kindergarten always looks a little bit unique, but okay. So here you see the Archdiocese. This is a sample from St. Hugo of the Hills. Here it tells you what the academic grading scale is. So you've got P is proficient, D is developing, N is needs support. Those are all grading letters that we already use. So this is the same. And then here you see we've got a standards rubric where it breaks it down into these are what the numbers mean that go with your standards. Okay, so if we scroll down here, you can see here for second grade religion, quarter one, the student scored a P, which is proficient. And then you can see it kind of digs in a little bit deeper with some of the subcategories of religion. So under here, you've got demonstrates an understanding of religious content. Quarter one, the child scored a 3, which means student work demonstrates consistent understanding of grade level standards and objectives. So right on target. And then in quarter 4, the student scored a 4, which shows student work demonstrates consistent and advanced understanding of grade level standards and objectives. So it means the child is exceeding where we expect them to be. So 3 is like right on where we want them to be. 2 is that they're approaching it, okay? They're getting there. And a 4 is they're exceeding it, going beyond it. Again, if you look over here under reading, so you can see that for quarter 1, the student scored a P, proficient, in reading, and they scored a proficient in quarter 2. And then you'll see down here, not every box is filled in, right? That just means that that standard wasn't hit during that quarter, okay? So identifies the main idea of a text. We hadn't gotten that far in second grade yet, okay? But by second quarter, we had. And you can see the student scored a 2, which means that they are approaching where we want them to be, okay? So you can see by adding in the standards, it's going to make the report cards a lot longer, but it gives you a little bit deeper information into how your child is doing. Here are the math standards over here. And you can see also down at the bottom, we still have our effort and our conduct grades, and those are done with a traditional lettering scale that you're used to seeing. And you can see that up is right up here. Your effort and conduct rubric is done on the A, B, C, D, F scale. Okay. So that's what first and second grade will look like. Third grade, it looks a little bit different and yet still similar. So currently in third grade, that's when we transition to the traditional grading scale, A, B, C, D, F, right? And you can see the percentages. These also are staying the same. Our grading scale is still the same. But again, you've got the standards being added in right here. And again, A 3 is saying that they're right where we expect them to be. A 4 is exceeding that. A 2 is approaching that. A 1 is not meeting that standard. Okay? And so down here, you'll see, again, with reading. So reading grade, student achieved B at an 83%, B for second grade, 88%. And then you see it broken down by standard. So identifying key ideas and details of literature scored a 3, which is right on target for both of those. Okay. So again, makes the report card a little bit longer, gives you more detail. Okay. 4th grade will be the same. 5th grade will be the same. Okay, so 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade will all show all the content standards. Then once a student gets to 6th grade, the standard scoring will not be there. So this will look exactly the same for all intents and purposes from what you're used to seeing. So again, your academic grading scale, A, B, C, D, F, effort and conduct, A, B, C, D, F. And then you'll see course religion, quarter grade, conduct and effort grade for each of those, okay? So this, by the time they get to 6th grade, the report card will look the same as you're used to seeing it, right? All of your classes all listed on one page, okay, with comments on the same page. Okay, so that was a lot of information. Those samples will be in the attachments to the email that I send out later today as well. So you can take a look at those. And if you have any questions, please give me a call or talk with your teacher. Probably give me a call. The teachers are trying to wind down the year. But again, any questions about this, we're happy to talk you through this. I think it's more of a visual change. It gives you a little bit more detail, a little more information, but it should at the same time be relatively familiar to you and I think pretty easy for you to grasp and understand. Okay, that's a lot of information for today. I do want to touch on one last thing. I know with the CDC's recent announcement about masks and vaccinated versus not vaccinated, there's a lot of questions about, like, what does this mean for the school year? I do want to let you know that I heard from the Macomb County Health Department first thing this morning saying, first thing this means is don't change anything for this school year, which of course makes a lot of sense. I mean, the majority of the people in the school building are not vaccinated, right? While staff can be vaccinated, even for our middle school students, vaccines didn't become available to them until just last week, and they're not going to be able to be fully vaccinated before the school year ends. So no changes will happen this year, and we're still waiting to hear on the future. I think, like you, this has made me cautiously optimistic about next school year, but I will keep you in the loop as soon as I get in the loop. So thank you. Thank you for all of your prayers and your support to this school year. You know, this is kind of my last chance to get to be in front of you. Also, thank you for all that you've done to support me, to support your teachers. I've been very, very blessed this school year, and in the midst of all of the craziness, your support and your concern has helped us carry the burden too. So know of our prayers as the school year comes to an end. We're looking forward to seeing you at all of the end of the year ceremonies, and please keep praying for us. And have a great day, everybody. Bye.